Alright, finally got a chance to work on the Trans Am again. Nice enough day to take it out, which works out perfectly because I'm dealing with this smelly crap. You can see here that I spent some time scrubbing off the old crap, and that's pretty clean. I think that's good enough. There's a little bit, but I mean, that's not, I doubt that's gonna really compromise the integrity of the glue, the fresh glue. Yeah, pretty good. Now I have everything else. Awesome. As for this rear bow here, I think I'm just gonna remove it from the rest of the frame and just scrub the hell out of it on the floor or something. It's taking forever, and I'm afraid that all the strain I'm putting on it from scrubbing it and whatnot might tweak something. So I have to do that. It looks like I just need to take out these screws right here and it should pop off. No problem. Same thing on the other side. Yep, I got it off. I'm just gonna let the bow sit like this over here. It doesn't seem to be hurting anything. That's the fourth bow? Yeah, it's the fourth bow, yeah. And here's the fifth bow. The rear one with all the crap I have to scrape out. That's gonna be fun. But at least it worked out because here I have a weird dent in mine, so I can just hammer that out while it's on the ground. So that works out pretty well. So, alright, let's get to it. Now with this groove facing upwards, with the bow on the ground, I could just take the acetone and just sort of dump it in there. Let it sit in those rubber chunks and whatnot, and that help burn them up, you know, make it easier to scrape it all out. Alright, finally clean this thing out. There's a few chunks here and there, but at this point I just don't care. It'll get the job done nice and fine. I ended up getting some goof off to help take this crap off, and I used little steel wool-like pads, coarse little pads to wipe this all off, plus to kind of scuff the paint a little bit too, so that'll definitely help the new glue bond to it. Definitely not a bad thing. Finally got all the old glue shit off. Well, most of it anyway, but that'll definitely get the job done. Now I'm just letting out dry outside. I put the rear bow up and I rubber banded it to the other bow so it doesn't blow shut by mistake, because it's a little breezy out today. Yeah, once I'll give this some time to dry, I just gotta run to the store to pick up some double-sided foam tape, and once it's dry, I'm gonna pull it back to the garage and hopefully get the new top on later this evening. There we go. Here's the old top all laid out on the pavers. You can see how crappy it was. Yuck. Working on the car some more. The old glue is pretty much all gone. New glue is ready to come on soon. Although here on the rear bow, I drilled in a few extra holes for some more rivets because I figured it couldn't hurt. Factory only had holes on the opposite sides, but here I thought I added one on the corner, a couple here in the middle, and another one in the corner over there. Just to keep things more secure, I guess. Just a little extra, you know, peace of mind. It's a good idea to line up the new top and the old top next to each other so you can compare what needs to be trimmed and whatnot. Because here, for instance, the old top here had about half an inch, just a little over half an inch of fabric where the it glued to the rear bow. So you can see that glue right there, whereas this new one has about 2 inches. So a lot of this needs to get cut off. The car's slowly starting to look like it has a roof again. I already put one rivet in there and one in there. I'll glue that shortly. And here I got this thing on, and it really stretches on there. It needs to put some effort into it. And I riveted that little thing in there. And it's also worth noting that right here on the new top, you see this little black section? That's where the rivet's supposed to go. So you'll see the original hole for the rivet, and then you'll simply put this over that hole, and then rivet that through. Kind of a nice little reference point to get the top lined up nicely. Now you want to put the top on the car, and see I already attached the first, or the third bow I should say, with these things, remember? Now I just gotta do this one, and this will help center the top nicely on the car, and then we'll take it from there. Now you want to put the top up around halfway, and attach these cables. First send them through this channel here that you pulled them out of on the old one, and then screw them on there. Alright, now you might want to attach these things right there. Oops. Nice. Alright, I want to say that the rivets are basically done for now. And now I'll just lift these flaps and stick some glue underneath them. Yeah, so far I have the rear bow, or the top riveted down to the rear bow in a few spots. I already put some glue on here where the rear rail is, and that stuff seems to hold nicely, so I'll start putting the rest on over here and see what happens. Alright, I put the contact cement on. It's a good idea to really saturate what you're going to be gluing. Not going crazy, but use a generous amount. And now I'm going to wait about 10-15 minutes, let the cement, quote, activate, and I'll clamp it down and let it glue, or stick. Alright, with the back side done, I'm moving to the front, and you can see I kind of marked the holes, because when the top's going to get folded over, it's going to, well, I still have to trim it a bit, but it's going to cover those holes, and the holes, the screws holding the brackets down are going to go through the cloth, so I'll need to know where to poke holes through this once I glue it down. And also I'll write a note somewhere saying that it's about 1/2 inch from this little lip, so I know where to drill. Yep. And the idea is to get the top flush with these edges right here. Okay, for attaching these bows right here with these pockets, what I did was cut some slots in here so there's room to adjust it in case I bolt it in and it's not centered. I did the same thing for that one. I'm not sure if that's the best idea or not, but as right now that's all I can think of to get it as straight as possible. Here on the old top you can see that the edge starts kind of bending inwards where it would fold over, whoops, the front bow, so that means it'll most likely fold in the same spot on the new one. Yeah, there's that little curve right there. Let's see if I try to fold it over. Yeah, it's pretty much right on that spot. Although just to be safe, I'm gonna fold over the whole thing, make sure this is nice and firm, and then I'll make a few marks here to make sure exactly where to fold it and where to keep it folded as I glue it down. Well, the neatness of this cut won't win any prizes, but it gets the job done, and this gets covered anyway. So you can see if I fold it over, it lands up pretty well. Yeah, you get the idea. I'm just gonna check it a few more times to make sure I'm gluing it in the right spot, and then we'll do it. Alright, now I clamp these things down, and I'm gonna sit back and let it do its thing for a few hours, and I'll come back and apply all that trim and all those brackets and whatnot, and we'll see if this thing holds together as I fold it and unfold it. Oh boy. Alright, while waiting for that to dry, I put these weather stripping pieces back on, and I use some fresh foam tape I got at Lowe's, so that's something you can do while you wait. Alright, now you want to get this metal retaining bracket on there with those several screws. bolt that down. Alright, now you want to put this thing back in, as well as first the headliner underneath it. I didn't glue the headliner to the top like from a factory. I didn't see the need, and plus I might need to take it off from adjusting the frame myself, but you can glue it if you want. Now I'm going to slide this weather stripping in there. What I do is I try to line up that groove right there with that one right there. So kind of just stick it in there and slide it up. Oops. Make sure it catches nicely. Yep, slide it up. And then with a flat tool, maybe something like that, you just grab the other side and start just pushing it in like so. Alright, now you attach the weather stripping over there and start inserting it in the channel like so. Unfortunately I had to peel the front off again and reapply the glue because I need to shift everything back about 3/4 of an inch, because when I try to close the top it was as tight as the drum and I actually was barely able to get the back to clamp down, so I'll have to wait another 10 minutes for this adhesive to do its thing, and then I'll clamp it down and hope I did it right this time. Alright, I got that metal bracket on. As you can see there, I didn't put the headliner or anything on yet because I'm thinking I might need to redo this. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna hope that maybe a week or so of driving in some weather might stretch this thing out a little bit, or tighten it I should say, shrink it. But so far it looks alright. Definitely will keep the rain out, that's for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's put this project to bed. My dad and I fixed the wrinkles in the top. What we ended up doing is peeling off the top off the front bow, and then we clamped down the top, and we took some contact cement, put like an inch strip running along the front like so, and with it all buttoned down, we took the cloth and we stretched it out nicely and laid it down on the contact cement. That grabbed nicely, made it nice and firm, and then we brought it back up and then wrapped it around the front bow like you're supposed to, and attach all the trim. So there's that. And I notice these wrinkles here seem to be a common problem. That's just water. These wrinkles here seem to be a common problem on these cars. I noticed almost every third gen convertible with a new top seems to have that unusual wrinkle there. But I believe that's from this being too tight and this being too loose, because right here is where that rivet sits, if you remember. And I was going by the factory hole in that little black stripe on the cloth as the reference point, so that might have something to do with it. Maybe the top was, you know, slightly different than factory spec. And lastly, I just put the rear weather stripping on. Not too bad, pain in the ass, but I managed to do it. So just kind of have to work your way into the channel with it using a putty knife or something. It just takes patience. Now the old one was glued, but I didn't feel the need to glue this one. I mean, it's holding on with the grooves in there pretty nicely, so, and plus gluing this would have been a pain. But I think it's gonna be alright without the glue. If anything, I'll put some adhesive in there sometime, but for now it's good. So oh, there it is. So yeah, tell me what you think. Any questions, comments, feel free. Kind of a crappy day and the car is a bit dirty, but here's a little walk around.